All right, welcome back. I was just looking through our course outline here, and we've already talked about a lot of this stuff. And so we're going through the essential AI skills, and we've been through these two videos right here. But these next videos here, we're just going to do a quick kind of overview of them because they're things we've already touched on. And using AI for explanations, clear understanding on any topic, right? Like obviously AI can explain anything to you pretty much. Yeah, particularly if you're just going through school, right? If you get up to the high-end quantum physics or, nuclear fusion, maybe it's going to be stumped at the edge of science, but it's pretty extraordinary for explaining most things to most people. So using AI for explanations is really important. Using AI for Q&As, whether you're asking the questions and the AI is answering, you could also prompt the AI to ask you questions and then you have to answer. So you could have it quiz you. And that's really useful to help learning. You can upload all kinds of images and files to AI, even handwritten notes. And so handwritten notes, right? It can understand handwriting, a lot of the AIs, so that's also pretty amazing. Use AI for quizzes. So that's the same thing of having it ask you questions, right? Testing your knowledge and preparing for exams. Using AI for verbal dialogues, you could talk with it using your voice. Using Notebook LM, turning notes into personalized podcasts. So Notebook LM, one of the characteristics of it is that it'll create podcasts. You can see here 2 podcasts I've created. But you can see Notebook LM is created by Google, and Gemini is created by Google, and AI Studio is created by Google. And the difference here is that last time I checked, Notebook LM and Gemini both have the same context window. And so the technologies behind them are probably pretty similar. But one of the things that distinguishes and differentiates Notebook LM is that you could do these podcasts, which is pretty interesting. So I encourage you to check that out. You could go to Create New here. And if you can't figure out how to get it to create a podcast, you could ask Gemini to give you the steps about how to create a podcast at Notebook LM. And then you have AI Studio. But anyhow, that's creating podcasts. And so you could use Notebook LM to turn notes or anything else into a podcast. And you could also use AI to do your writing for you. You certainly should use AI to do your writing because, the analogy for me is kind of like the calculator. Just like it's important to know how to do math and how to be able to do basic math on your own with a pencil and a piece of paper or in your own head. Just like it's important to know how to do math, it's also, once you know that, it's good to have a calculator. But it's still important that you know how to do that basic skill of mathematics. And likewise, it's important for you to know how to do the basic skill of writing and communicating and sharing your ideas with other people through the written word. And once you have that fundamental skill, it's also really useful to be able to do that more quickly, right? And just have the AI do it for you. So it's like the calculator, just like the calculator is for math, these AI chatbots are helpful for writing. And so it's great, it's useful. You should use it for all of your professional communications, for your emails, for your cover letters, for your resumes, to proof whatever you've written. And at the same time, you should have that fundamental skill within yourself of being able to write. And so, one way that people don't always think about using AI is like to apply for jobs. And so if you're just to look for jobs, like, I don't know, find some job description, you could take that job description, you could upload it to the AI, you could then upload your resume, and you could say, hey, and you could give it a link to your LinkedIn profile. And you could say, hey, please, write a cover letter for this job, for me to apply for this job, and also adjust my resume specifically for this job based upon the resume I've attached, and also based upon my LinkedIn profile, and then turn those both into PDF documents. You probably will need to format the resume, take a little bit of time, but it'll make an amazing cover letter and tailor your resume just for one specific job. But anyhow, that's going to make you more effective and more successful. So one of the things I'll also mention here is we're talking about writing college papers and email and professional communication and crafting polished messages, right? One of the things I'll also mention is that on LinkedIn, you want to make sure that as you're going through classes, I'm not signed in, but you could have recommendations on LinkedIn. So from all of your professors, you should ask for a letter of recommendation from each professor. And you should say, do well in their class, get to know them, make sure they know you, give them a thank you card, and maybe a little bit of a gift at the end of the semester, like a chocolate bar or something. Just be like, hey, thanks for being my professor. Really appreciated everything I learned from you. And then, follow up a couple of weeks later and say, could I get a letter of recommendation from you? So in psychology, there's a principle called the reciprocity principle. And there's a great book called Influence book. And I think I might have mentioned this already in the course, but here's the book, Influence. And so this is like, talks about the reciprocity principle and other ways the human mind works. But the reciprocity principle, you did something nice for your professor. The professor got to know you. And then you ask for a letter of recommendation. They're going to be more likely to write it for you, and they're going to be more likely to give you a better one. And when you ask for that letter of recommendation, you could also say, hey, I've taken the liberty to draft a letter based upon my experience in your class and everything else I've done. Feel free to use this as a starting point for your letter, or just modify this one. And if you feel comfortable with it, you could sign it and send it back. And so you really make it easier for your professor to give you a letter of recommendation. And then you keep all those letters of recommendation on file, somewhere like in Google Drive, just like store or whatever online cloud storage service you use. Just store those letters of recommendation. And then also, after you got the letter of recommendation, say, hey, would you mind posting that to my LinkedIn profile? And then you're going to have letters of recommendations from each of your professors. And that's amazing. And so one of the sayings and one of the principles of life that I think is true is that if you want to realize what most people don't realize, you have to do what most people don't do. So if you get a letter, and most people don't get a letter of recommendation from each of their professors. And so if you get a letter of recommendation from each of your professors, you're doing what most people don't do. And that's going to help you realize what most people don't realize. Meaning like greater financial success, greater career success. Because very few people graduate from their undergraduate degree or even their graduate degree with a letter of recommendation from each of the professors. And if you do that through all of your undergrad and all of your masters, that's 6 years of school. That's like 5 classes a semester. And 10 a year. That's like 60 classes that you've taken, bachelor's and master's, and you'll have 60 letters of recommendation if you get one from each of your professors. 60, like that's phenomenal, right? And you'll be like you'll be in the top 1%. So if you want to realize what most don't realize, you have to do what most don't do. So that's getting those letters of recommendation. But the main point there of this is using AI to write. In the next video, we'll take a quick look at presenting with confidence, how AI can help with public speaking, and then also help just with your social skills. I'm just condensing a lot of these because I talked about a lot of this more quickly than I realized was going to happen, and there's no need for us to go through each of these videos. I think it's clear, and I don't need to demonstrate any of these things. But I also feel like, wow, this course took a lot more effort than I was realizing. And I just need to get through it because we're going on winter break, so jamming through it. All right, so that is some additional information about AI. In the next video and the last video also of this section, we're going to take a look at how AI can help you with your public speaking skills and also with your social skills. See you in the next video.